Imagine this: what if everything you've been searching for, all the peace and wisdom you've been chasing, has already been within you from the very start? What if the Buddha's teachings tell you that you are already enlightened, that the journey isn't about becoming something you're not, but recognizing what you've always been? Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most transformative concepts in Buddhism: Buddha nature. This idea turns everything you think you know about spiritual growth on its head. It's not a distant goal or a far-off destination. It's a profound truth already within you. Stick with me, and by the end of this exploration, you'll see why recognizing your Buddha nature is the key to unlocking the life of peace, wisdom, and compassion you've always desired. The concept of Buddha nature, Tathāgatagarbha, is one of the most profound and transformative ideas in Buddhism, challenging conventional views on spiritual growth and enlightenment. The essence of Buddha nature suggests that enlightenment is not a distant goal to be attained, but a fundamental truth already within us. Buddha nature is not a future state, but a realization that can be uncovered. This teaching has profound implications for how we view ourselves, our practice, and our relationship with the world. In this deep dive, we'll explore Buddha nature from its core concepts to its practical implications, using powerful examples and stories to illustrate its relevance today. Understanding Buddha nature. At the heart of the Buddha's teachings lies the concept of Buddha nature. This idea is revolutionary in its simplicity. Unlike traditional teachings, which often frame enlightenment as something to strive for, Buddha nature asserts that enlightenment is already inherent in each of us. It is not something to be earned through effort or time. Rather, it is something to be recognized. The metaphor Buddha used to explain this was that our true nature is like a precious jewel buried under layers of dirt. The jewel itself remains untouched and pure despite the grime that surrounds it. Similarly, our Buddha nature remains pure and radiant, regardless of the distractions and defilements that cloud our minds. This metaphor speaks directly to the human experience. We often believe that we need to improve ourselves, achieve perfection, or attain something greater to find fulfillment. However, Buddha nature teaches that the core of who we are is already perfect and complete. Our spiritual practices, such as meditation, are not about achieving something new, but about peeling away the layers of distraction and defilement to reveal the true essence that has always been there. The three qualities of Buddha nature. Buddha nature is described as having three main qualities: purity, unchanging stability, and blissfulness. Purity. The essence of Buddha nature is untouched by karma, negative emotions, or bad habits. No matter how much we might feel we've strayed from our true nature or accumulated negative experiences, our Buddha nature remains untouched. This quality is a reminder that our true nature is not defined by our past actions or mistakes. Even though we may have accumulated layers of dirt, the jewel within us remains pure and perfect. Unchanging stability. While our thoughts, emotions, and external circumstances fluctuate constantly, Buddha nature remains constant and stable. This quality is incredibly powerful, especially in the face of life's challenges. By recognizing our inherent stability, we can approach life with a greater sense of inner peace and resilience. Our emotional states and external situations may shift, but the true essence of who we are remains constant and unshaken. Blissfulness. At its core, Buddha nature is inherently peaceful and filled with bliss. Unlike the temporary satisfaction or happiness we chase through external means, Buddha nature offers a deep, lasting sense of peace. This bliss is not something that needs to be achieved through success, wealth, or external validation. It is an innate quality of our being, and it shines through when we stop looking for happiness outside of ourselves and begin to recognize the peace that already exists within. These three qualities define the nature of true spiritual awakening. To grasp them is to understand the essence of who we are, and to realize that enlightenment is not an external state, but an intrinsic quality we possess. This understanding transforms how we approach life, meditation, and spiritual practice. The paradox of spirituality. One of the most perplexing questions posed by the Buddha nature teaching is, if we are already enlightened, why meditate? Traditional spiritual teachings often emphasize the need for effort, struggle, and discipline in achieving enlightenment. This creates a paradox. If enlightenment is already within us, why do we need to practice meditation or engage in spiritual work? The answer lies in the nature of spiritual practice. Meditation is not about becoming enlightened. It is about recognizing the enlightenment that is already there. This realization transforms how we approach our practice. Rather than seeing meditation as a means to achieve something or to fix ourselves, we begin to see it as a process of recognizing and uncovering what has always been present. When we meditate, we are not striving for perfection. Instead, we are learning to see more clearly, to let go of distractions, and to return to our natural state of awareness. This shift in perspective changes everything. Meditation becomes a practice of recognition, not a practice of attainment. Every time we sit down to meditate, we are not trying to become something we are not. We are simply trying to recognize the Buddha nature within us. This changes the whole experience, allowing us to meditate with more ease, peace, and joy, knowing that we are already whole. Buddhist debates and division. The teaching of Buddha nature has sparked deep debates within the Buddhist tradition. Mahayana Buddhism fully embraced the concept of inherent enlightenment, seeing Buddha nature as foundational to its entire philosophy. According to this view, everyone is already enlightened, and the spiritual path is about recognizing and embodying that inherent enlightenment. On the other hand, the Theravada tradition, while acknowledging Buddha nature, emphasized the idea that enlightenment is something to be cultivated over time. In this view, enlightenment is not an inherent state, but a potential that needs to be realized through meditation and practice. This perspective raises the question, if we are already enlightened, why would the Buddha teach methods for meditation and spiritual progress? The answer lies in understanding that while Buddha nature is inherent, it is often obscured by defilements and distractions, and thus it requires practice to bring it into conscious awareness. This division between Mahayana and Theravada represents two different approaches to the spiritual journey. One focuses on the recognition of inherent enlightenment, while the other emphasizes gradual cultivation. Both approaches, however, agree on one key point. Recognizing Buddha nature transforms how we relate to our spiritual path and to ourselves. The story of realization, a powerful Zen story, helps illustrate the concept of Buddha nature. A monk once asked his master, "How do I see my Buddha nature?" The master simply replied, "Have you heard the sound of the mountain stream?" The monk paused, listening intently to the sound of the water, and in that moment, enlightenment struck. This story is a reminder that enlightenment is not something that we need to chase or achieve. It is something that is already present, waiting to be recognized. The story teaches us that enlightenment is not about striving for something we do not have. It is about listening deeply and recognizing what is already there. The monk's experience of hearing the mountain stream is analogous to the experience of realizing our Buddha nature. It is a moment of pure awareness that is always present, but often hidden by the noise and distractions of our minds. The practical benefits of recognizing Buddha nature. Recognizing Buddha nature has profound practical benefits in our daily lives. When we understand that we are already whole and complete, we stop striving for external validation and stop fearing failure. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves or achieve success to feel worthy. Instead, we cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace and compassion, both for ourselves and for others. This shift also affects our relationship with time. When we stop living for some future moment when we will finally be enough, we can begin to appreciate the present moment. Buddha nature exists only in the present moment. We no longer feel the need to chase after some distant goal or future achievement. Instead, we embrace the present as it is, knowing that it is in this moment that our true nature is revealed. Furthermore, recognizing Buddha nature allows us to approach life with greater compassion. When we see that every person has Buddha nature, we begin to view others with more understanding and less judgment. We recognize that the person who cuts us off in traffic or the coworker who irritates us is, in essence, no different from us. They too are manifestations of Buddha nature, even if they are temporarily clouded by their own distractions and defilements. So, what does all this mean for you in your daily life? Buddha nature teaches us that enlightenment isn't something to be achieved in the future, but something to be realized in the present moment. Once you recognize your inherent Buddha nature, you stop striving to become something more and start embracing the peace, stability, and bliss that have always been within you. Imagine living a life where you don't chase approval or success to feel whole. A life where your relationships, your work, and even your own self-image are transformed by the simple realization that you are already enough. This isn't just a philosophical concept, it's a practical, transformative tool you can use every day. Remember, Buddha didn't point to some far-off moon, he pointed to the sky above us. The Buddha nature isn't something we need to search for, it's right here, right now, waiting for us to recognize it. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or uncertain, pause and remember, the true, radiant essence of who you are has always been there. All you need to do is recognize it, and in that recognition, you'll find the peace and freedom you've been seeking.